Dr. V. Premalata. She pursued her undergraduate in BSc Biology at the University of Madras. She then went on to do her teaching degree in the University of Madras. Taking a keen interest in Sanskrit, she then studied masters in Sanskrit with Karnataka Open University. She pursued her MPhil, which was on Gorakshanata's Amanask Yoga, which is a unique treatise that explains yoga, which is benefit of mind. She continued her studies with a doctorate in Sthala Vrakshas in the Puranas, a biosocial study. Her focus on research is mainly in different fields of biological science from ancient Sanskrit treatises.
Swagatam, welcome to UGC lecture series in Sanskritam. In the last episode, we were discussing the nutrition of plants or Poshana Vidhi. In Poshana Vidhi, we dealt with many aspects of nutrition, especially Kunapa Jala, which is the tonic water, a special water made from different kinds of meats and other nutrients. From Kunapa Jala method of preparation, we come to know that ancient Indians were adept in organic chemistry. They knew fermentation, they knew the pH value, they also knew the putrefactory methods and other things that go into enhancing the nutritive value of foods. That is how we have curds or dosa, idli, vada and other preparations that involve fermentation. Now, we go on with Poshana Vidhi. The nutrition of plants continues with the Ketaki plant. Surabhi jala nishekato nidhade kunapa jalena cha Ketaki nishikta jaladhara samaye sugandha suchi chayani chitani bibardi pallavani. In summer, if Ketaki is sprinkled with fragrant water nourished with Kunapa jala, in rainy season it will grow a multitude of aromatic spiky leaves. As you all know, Ketaki has spiky leaves with thorns, but it is very aromatic and it is used in perfume preparation and for decorating the tresses of women. So, those spikes will be abundant if you add Kunapa jala in summer season, because Ketaki will put forth leaves in rainy season and a multitude of aromatic fragrant spiky leaves will be grown. Now, the poet here says, you are what you eat. Whatever we feed to the plants, they give it back to us.
Yasya kasyapi pushpasya saurabhena adhivasitan mrittika shakalan mule vrikshanam bahalan kshipet.
So, the soil that was made fragrant by the association of aromatic flowers. If we use a lot of aromatic flowers for puja or for decorating the house or for tresses, we can save all the aromatic flowers. No need to throw them away, just put them under the trees and these will rot in the soil and transfer their aroma to the soil, and the soil will transfer the aroma to the roots of the plants and the flowers in the trees will be very aromatic. So, the soil that was made fragrant by the association of aromatic flowers should be collected and thrown on the roots of all trees. Now, we come to the other kind of fertilizer.
Kushtapatra sura musta tagara ushira churnakaihi mishritena ambhasa sa ekan masam saurabha sambhavah.
Kushta, leaves, sura, musta, tagara and ushira should be powdered together, mixed with water, and the trees should be fertilized with this concoction, and aromatic flowers will blossom in a month's time. So, all these herbs, kushta, leaves, sura, musta, tagara and ushira. Ushira is cuscus. Naturally it is very aromatic. All these if you take and powder them and leave them at the roots of the trees, then the plants will put forth aromatic flowers. Then what about lotus plants? Kulmasha danti dantanam churna yuk panka sambhava pratyaham pushpita amboja mandita padmini bhavet. If you have a lotus pond in your house, you can do this. The lotus plants should be sprinkled with the powder of kulmasha grain. Kulmasha is a type of grain, and the elephant's tusk, that is little difficult to get, but they were doing it in those days when abundant tusks were available. Then the pond will be adorned by lotuses each and every day. Then we come to the other nutrient, Siddhartha Kadali Dalani Safari Vitakola Marjarayoho Etesham Samabhagam Ajya Sahitam Churnam Tarubhyo Hitam Dattam Dupa Vilepana Upacharanaihi Apyayatam Rogahrit Shaka Pallavati Alam Madhukara Vyalola Pushpaschadaha. What a beautiful description. You take equal parts of Siddhartha. As I told you before, I also showed in the last episode white mustard. It is a very important nutrient. It is also called Siddhartha, Sita Shashrapa otherwise known as. So, Siddhartha and banana leaves, safari, fish. As you know, fish is very rich in omega 3 and it should be added, the fish washings should also be added to the roots of the trees. So, anything do not throw away. If you have any small bits of and pieces of fish, put it under the tree. Safari fish, the droppings of hog and cat. Powder them and mix it with ghee. This is an excellent fertilizer for the tree. If this paste is smeared on the trees with fumigation, the trees will be rid of all diseases and their branches will grow abundant, verdant foliage covered with flowers, hovering with bees. It serves a dual purpose because it also rids of all the diseases and also puts forth abundant flowers, beautiful flowers, and this concoction should be remembered and should be fed to the trees. Then we go on to rosewood.
Dhupo Gritasya Samrudo Yavavari Seko Nityam cha Dugdha Salilaihi Kunapa Ambubihi va Lepo Vidanga Tila Kalka Kritaha Shishunam Vridhim Karoti Paramam Khalu Buruhanam.
That is, if rosewood, that is Dalbergia sisu, it is also known as sisu tree. It is called shishu also. Trees are fumigated with ghee and sprinkled with barley and fermented rice in water, and the trunk smeared with vidanga and sesame paste, and then either water mixed with milk or our own kunapa jala is always poured, and they indeed grow very luxuriantly. So, first you should fumigate it so that you get rid of all the pests, and then sprinkle with barley and fermented rice. Do not throw away your fermented rice, it comes in handy for your plants, and you pour in a lot of water, and the trunk should be smeared with vidanga. Vidanga I have shown in one of the last episodes, and then sesame paste and the water mixed with milk or kunapa jala should be poured. Now, we come to Ankola because we use Ankola decoction for many recipes. That is the Ankola Kvata Toyena Mishritam Gritamakshikam Vasa Kiti Kuranganam Etaihi Sikta Mahiruhaha. The decoction of Ankola flour mixed with butter and honey along with the fat of deer and pig should be sprinkled to all trees. All kinds of trees can be fed with this concoction. We come to the continuation the next. So, you see the Ancola to your left, those are the Ancola fruits, and there is a very special feature about Ancola which I am going to say now. Even Adi Shankara has spoken about Ancola in his poems Shivananda Lahari. He says, just as a bhakta's thoughts are always go and cling on to the deity, to the Paramatman. The Ancola seeds, when they fall down on the ground, they go and rejoin with their mother plant. That is a very special feature. On the trunks of Ancola trees, you will always see lots of seeds adhering to the tree. That is because the seeds always travel back to the mother plant and rejoin with the trunk of the mother plant. This is a very special feature of Ancola. So, you see the Sisu or the Dalbergia Sisu or the Shishu tree to your right. Now, we come back to
सिद्धार्थक फलोपेताः सर्वदा फलशोभिताः जायन्ते पुष्पपत्राढ्याः सच्चाया रोगवर्जिताः.
To the ingredients mentioned in the previous verse, powdered Siddhartha or the white mustard should be added and sprinkled to all trees. If they are given this portion, they will be always endowed with fruits, abounding in flowers and foliage, rendering good shade and live bereft of any disease. So, two birds at one stroke, you also get rid of the diseases and then you get a lot of flowers and fruits. Now, we come to pills for the trees. Yashti madhuka pushpani sita kushtam samakshikam nikshipya gulikaha kritva mule sarvatra nikshipet. Yashti madhuka flowers and the white variety of kushta and honey should be made into small pills or gulika and then scattered on the roots of the trees. So, gulika is not the prerogative of just humans alone, even plants can be given gulikas. And then if you want to have plenitude of sweet tasting fruits in your backyard, please do this. Dugdha sekam cha vrikshasya yasya kuryat vichakshanah phalam sunishchitam tasya madhuram jayate brisham. Any wise man would water the tree mixed with milk and it would in all certainty yield a plenitude of sweet tasting fruits. So, you are what you eat. If you give milk, you get sweet tasting fruits, that is satvika ahara. Now, we have finished with the nutrition and we are moving on to the treatment of trees. So, in ancient India, India had a well developed scientific knowledge that got reflected in their way of life and documented in the scriptures too. As such, one can conclude that the treatment of plants is not a novelty of recent times. The oldest Rig Veda hymns have specific use of trees for samids. Samids are twigs doused in ghee offered in the Vedi or the fire in the altars. And the implements used for the yajnas or the fire sacrifices were all made with different kinds of wood. Even for somarasa, special kinds of wood were made into the soma press, and then implements like the ladles, shruk, shrava, everything was made with wood, and then the vessels were also made with wood. So, they have imposed strict rules as to which wood should be used for which implement. And then phytopathology or the study of microbes causing diseases is mentioned vividly in the Rig Vedic hymns. We also saw some episodes before that the Vishagnopanishad hymn is about microbes describing jaundice, Hridroga and everything. Atharva Veda also records many plant species and their uses in Ayurveda. Then entomology had already existed as Rig Veda specify the worms as
Kapanaha.
those which creep, and then Atharva Veda describes the Tarda or the borer insect, Upakvasa obnoxious insect, Jabya snapper and Samanka with hooks and the like. Rodents like rats are also mentioned, mole is mentioned. All the commentators like Sayana, they have added another long list of pathogens and insects to this. Thus, the knowledge of diseases led to that treatment, and Ayurveda was the panacea of all diseases. And now in Taruchikitsa, we deal with the curative aspect of treatment as also the casualties. Agni Purana also mentions Vriksha Ayurveda, and it has a special chapter on Vriksha Ayurveda. In fact, all the Puranas sometimes mention about Vriksha Ayurveda. The deficiencies and malnutrition are taken care of by Poshana Vidhi, and the illnesses are taken care of by Taruchikitsa. The very first verse says that the treatment of trees and humans are very similar, identical. Naranam iva vrikshanam vata pitta kafat gadaha sambhavanti nirupyatah kuryat tat dosha nashanam. Even Brihat Samhita talks about the same aspect. Similar to humans, the plants also suffer due to diseases resulting from Vata, Pitta and Kapha doshas. They are called the three humors. They are to be cured after proper diagnosis. Now, the telltale signs or the symptoms are there on the trees, and if you inspect the trees, you will come to know whether it is suffering from Vata, Pitta or Kapha dosha, and accordingly you should treat the tree. Kita jagde Agni sanplishte Vata bhagne ashani kshate vrikshe chetopacharadi pidite cha pritak kriya. The trees eaten by worms, that is full of germs, burnt by fire, broken by wind and struck by thunderbolt. They are to be remedied by cutting away the affected parts. So, they used to do plant surgery also, and there were plant surgeons too, we understand from this. In case afflicted with some disease, the tree should be accorded a different type of treatment. You have the same in Sukraniti and in Vinaya Pitaka. In both books, you have descriptions on how to treat the trees when they have different afflictions. So, these are the tree insects and some nematodes or worms that you see here. So, one of them is a locust, and there are different types of locusts, different species of locusts, different species of insects that bore the tree and harm the tree, eat away the leaves and all that. And these worms live inside the trunk of the tree, and they make tunnels inside the tree and damage them and make them die. So, now we come to the three afflictions, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Vata is due to the wind, Pitta is due to the bile, and Kapha is due to the phlegm. So, these three humors are responsible for all the diseases. The imbalance in any of them will definitely result in some disease or the other. Now, let us see the symptoms. Krisho dirgo lagu ruksho nidrahina alpachetanah na datte palapushpani vata prakritikas. Trees afflicted by vata will be tall, emaciated, they will be very thin, tall, light, very light, dry, devoid of sleep, alpachetanah, devoid of sleep and partly conscious. Nidraheenah alpachetanah. So, don't think that trees are insentient, they are sentient. And Dr. Jagdish Chandra Bose, a great scientist of India of yesteryears, have done a lot of research on plants. He has proved by many experiments that the trees do have conscious and the trees have sleep, the trees can be tired, the trees can feel, and so on. So, he has proved with experiments as a scientist. So, with anything is proved with experiment, then we will have to believe it. So, and they are becoming partly conscious because they are afflicted by vata or the wind. So, the result is they do not yield any flower or fruit naturally. If it is afflicted with wind, they cannot put forth any flower or fruit. Brihad Samhita is given here as cross reference and it also reflects the same meaning. Atapa asahanah panduhu shakahino muhuhu yadi akala phalapaki sachakhi pittatmakah krishah. Now, we come to pitta or the bile. If affected by bile dosha, the afflicted trees cannot bear sunshine. They cannot stand heat, sun's heat. They will look yellowish in color, very pale, without any branches. And since they will be shedding their branches again and again, they become very thin. These thin trees will exhibit fruition prematurely. That is, the fruits will be there, but they fall off even before they ripe. So, in the apakva stage itself, the fruits will fall off. And then we come to the kapha or the third dosha. Snigdha shakadalah shaki samyak pushpa palojvalah lata parita gatrastu kaphavan parimandalah. The kapha type of trees or those with phlegm constitution will bear very smooth and glossy leaves on the branches and they sport bright flowers and fruits. But the entire tree will be twined by creepers. Now, you will know the kapha type of trees if you inspect the leaves and the branches. So, how do you treat them? Here the poet says, Katu tikta kashaya rasaihi pavanah pittam katu ushna lavana amlaihi snigdha madhura amla lavanaihi sleshma kopam prayati taroho. Substances containing pungent, bitter and astringent tastes are destructive for the tree of vata constitution. Those containing bitter, hot, pungent, salty and sour are harmful to trees of pitta constitution. The trees with phlegm constitution will be harmed by greasy, sweet, salty and sour substances. So, these have to be remembered and the constitution of trees should be observed before giving them any nutrient. Summarize today's episode. We dealt with the nutrition of plants. The herbs that are helpful in increasing the aroma of ketaki enhance the aroma of the flowers. The yield of lotuses, protection against diseases and increase the yield of flowers and fruits of particular trees. All these were discussed. And then the curative aspect, the treatment of plants was discussed. Vata, Pitta and Kapha constitutions of plants are just like the human beings and their symptoms were all enumerated and their diet for Vata, Pitta and Kapha were also discussed in today's episode. Now, we go to the questions. How do you improve the aroma of flowers? How can the yield of lotuses be increased? What is the part played by Ankola tree in nutrition? What are the 3 doshas in Vrikshayurveda in the treatment of plants? What are the symptoms of the 3 doshas? What are the diet restrictions for Vata, Pitta and Kapha stricken trees? So, with this we come to the end of today's episode. Dhanyavadaha.